let's light it up.
There's something about a light. I mean, this oil lamp sits on the corner of my desk at home. It's one of my favorite lamps that I have. And early in the morning, before the sun decides to peek over the horizon, I will sit at my desk and I'll turn on my computer and I will light this lamp. And, well, there's just something about the glow of the flame. There's something mesmerizing as you watch the flame kind of dance around. I find myself just sitting there staring into it. There's something, well, soothing as you look at the glow of the flame. Something that just kind of whispers, hey, just everything in the world is going to be all right. There's something reassuring. As a glow just kind of, well, warms up the space. I think about several weeks ago when we started this series, Light It Up, and we looked at Genesis 1 where there was darkness and there was disorder and there was chaos. And in the silence, God speaks and light erupts. He separates the light from the darkness. And out of the chaos comes, well, peace. Out of the disorder comes order. Out of the darkness, well, comes light. And that's why there's something so deeply spiritual. It's why one single light can dispel darkness. It's why one single light can give you a peace that nothing in this world can never give you. There's something about light, sourced by God, and it's so good. A single light. One single light. A candlelight, an oil lamp light, a flashlight, a light bulb. One single light has the power to dispel darkness. I mean, one light. Darkness can be everywhere. Darkness can consume a space. And you light one light, you turn one light on. It's amazing how quickly darkness just evaporates. And one single light has a power to reveal what is hidden. Something that's hidden in the shadows quickly. Well, you can see when you shine that one light into the shadows. And one single light has a power to bring a sense of peace. And you see where we started this journey. We started in Genesis chapter 1. Where darkness was hovering over the deep. The Spirit, the wind of God was over the waters. The world, the universe was in chaos. The world, the universe was in disorder. Darkness was everywhere. And then God breaks the silence and He speaks light into existence. Because He is the source of light. And that light is good. It's good. It was desirable. It was beautiful. It was life-giving. It was morally good. And it's God's light that illuminates the darkness of the world. And here's what we all understand. And we just have to read the headlines and we know how dark our world is. But guess what? This dark world has always been dark. And you, me, have that darkness living within us, don't we? We know it's in there. We can feel it, we can sense it in our thoughts, in our actions, in our emotions. It was Jesus that said that he was the light of the world, that whoever follows him, will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Because his light brings life into our broken, messy life. And today, where we're going to go in this series, Light It Up, we're going to just be focusing in on our call, if you're a Christ follower, to reflect his light. Jesus was early on in his public teaching, his public ministry. He had just started, and crowds of people started following him because they knew that he was a gifted teacher. They wanted to hear what he had to say. And one of the places Jesus spent a lot of time teaching was in this region of Galilee. In fact, the longest recorded teaching we have of Jesus is in the gospel, the book of Matthew, the story about Jesus. In Matthew 5, 6, and 7, we have the longest recorded teaching. And what we know is Jesus would have been teaching on one of these, hillsides. Around the Sea of Galilee, all the land kind of slopes into the sea, and they form this natural amphitheater where people would sit on the hills, and Jesus would stand towards the bottom, and his voice would carry up. And on that day, as he was teaching, a guy named Matthew, same guy that wrote the story of Jesus, named the Gospel of Matthew. Matthew was sitting there. Here's what we know is weeks, maybe a few months before, Matthew was actually working at his job. He was a tax collector. He was a Jewish man working for the Roman government, which means all the Jewish people hated Matthew because he worked for Rome and he was taking, or better yet, stealing money from their pockets. But Jesus walked up to Matthew and said, "Hey, Matthew, I want you to come follow me." And what did Matthew decide to do? Matthew got up and he followed Jesus. And now Matthew finds himself sitting in this massive crowds. Again, hundreds, thousands of people sitting on this hillside. And Matthew had to have felt still like an outsider. I mean, he had to look around him, knowing the number of people that he had taken money from or he had stolen money from. And now he's in Jesus' inner circle. I don't think Matthew felt like he was in an inner circle. I think Matthew felt like he was a fraud. He was an outsider. He was an outcast. For some reason, Jesus said, "Come follow me." And Matthew had said yes. And now Matthew sits there, listening to Jesus teach, surrounded by people, again, that hated him, despised him, because he had taken money from them. And then Matthew hears Jesus say, "You." Now, this wasn't some passing you or passive you. This wasn't some general you to the hundreds and thousands of people that were sitting there that day. No. This you, when Jesus said you, this was an emphatic you. Now, I don't know if you're raised in a home where pointing was outlawed. I was raised in a family where you don't point, that's rude. Well, I just want you to know, Jesus was like pointing at everyone. If Jesus could have paused that day and looked at everyone in the eye, he would have done that. But I think, again, we don't know this from the text, but I think Jesus kind of got Matthew's attention. He glanced at Matthew to say, "Hey, Matthew, I'm talking to you. You see, if you've ever felt like you were an outsider spiritually, if you ever felt like an outcast spiritually, maybe you're just sitting in church right now and you just feel like you're looking around and you're like, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why I came. I don't know, will Jesus accept me? Does Jesus accept me? Will Jesus love me? Does Jesus love me? You have all those questions. You're looking around going, I don't even know if I belong here. I just want you to know, Matthew had been thinking the same thing. And I think Jesus did get his eyes saying, no. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. And Jesus goes, you are the light. Light. Again, an illustration that spans generations, that spans thousands of years. No matter what produces a light, yeah, that's changed, but we all understand light. Whether they're my Wi-Fi light bulbs connected to Alexa or my oil lamp. We all know what a light is. And Jesus goes, you are the light of the world. The world. Now, if you were living in the region of Galilee, around the Sea of Galilee, and you were a Jew, there was a reason you lived there. You see, the really good, God-fearing Jews, they wanted to live as close to Jerusalem as possible. Well, that's where the temple was. That's where all the festivals and feasts were held. That's where all the Jewish spiritual religious leaders were. I mean, Jerusalem was the epicenter. But if you lived in Galilee, you were kind of intentionally like trying to get away from all of that. Yeah, you would love God, yay God, but you didn't want to be part of all of that religiosity. And around the Sea of Galilee, there was a pretty big Roman city. It was literally called Tiberias. It was just north of where Jesus would have been teaching. In fact, in the Roman world, they didn't call the Sea of Galilee the Sea of Galilee. They called it Lake Tiberias. And I think for Matthew, I think for the thousands of people sitting there that day, when Jesus said you were a light of the world, they were kind of thinking Galilee. They were even kind of thinking just Israel, unless you were a Roman citizen and then the world was Rome. But if you were a Jewish person, your world was just kind of in that narrow strip of land. And I think Jesus just kind of smiled a little bit. He was like, oh, you have no idea that there's more continents still part of this world that you'll never know of. But one day, people will discover it. And when Jesus said, you are the light of the world, what's implied in this statement is that the world was consumed by darkness. I mean, it's just implied into Jesus' teaching that darkness had consumed the world, and darkness, was wreaking havoc inside of people just like me, people just like you. In fact, it's why when Jesus in John chapter 8 goes, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows. Not whoever has it all put together, not whoever has all the answers, not whoever can answer all the questions. No, he goes, whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. And that's why for Matthew, everything changed. When Jesus said, hey, Matthew, come follow me. What did Matthew decide to do? Follow. He got up in that moment and just followed. As an outcast, as an outsider, as a person that every other Jewish person hated him, he followed Jesus. And Jesus, in that moment, made such an emphatic statement to everyone around that all you have to do is follow. All you have to do is follow. All you have to do is follow. And then Jesus goes on in this illustration, and he goes, a town built on a hill. Well, here's the thing. We all understand a town, a borough, a city, a township. We all understand a hill. We get that. In fact, what I love was when I'm driving on I-80 West towards Du Bois, I love being able to just look over to the right and you can see Tri-County Church Du Bois up on the hill. On the darkest of nights, you could see the glow from the church building. And Jesus goes, a city, a town, a borough, a township, a county, a town built on a hill cannot easily be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. I was thinking about that line. It would be like us wrapping Christmas lights around a Christmas tree. And after doing that painstakingly difficult, frustrating process, trying to wrap all those lights around a Christmas tree, all of a sudden you get done and then you grab a pair of scissors and you just cut the plug off the strand of lights. Ridiculous? Yeah, it'd be like me lighting my oil lamp on my desk and getting it lit and putting the glass top on it and going, oh, that looks amazing, and then picking it up and walking it over to my closet, setting it in my closet and shutting the door. Ridiculous? Yes. And this is the point that Jesus is getting to. He was like, neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Why? Because that's just ridiculous. Why would you light a lamp and then hide the light? He said instead they put it on a stand and it gives light to everyone in the house. You see, something happens the longer you are a Christ follower. And I don't know how long you've been a Christ follower. But here's a tendency across all Christ followers. This happens to me. I fight this all the time. And I know this happens within you as well. The longer you are a Christ follower, there's something within us that wants to just hunker down. When someone first accepts Jesus, when someone first follows Jesus, right? There's this excitement where they just want to tell everyone, they're like, hey, you need to experience the love and the joy and the peace and the hope that I'm experiencing now, right? This newfound life. It's like, yes, but the longer you are a Christ follower, the more you want to hunker down. It's true. The longer you are a Christ follower, the more you want to just kind of go inside, protect yourself. You look at the darkness in the world and you're like, I want to do my own thing and I want to worship God and I want to follow Jesus, but I don't want to deal with the darkness of the world. I want to stay safe in my little house with my lamp. And Jesus is like, no. Don't hide it. Don't tuck it away. Radiate my light. That's what Jesus is saying. Hey, parents, I get you want to protect your kids. I fully understand that. And we're living in dark times. I understand that. My encouragement for you is this. Yeah, be wise, protect them, and teach them how to live reflecting Jesus' light in a dark world. You can do both. Hey, Christ followers, have you just hunkered down trying to wait out the darkness of the world? No, don't. Jesus is like, please don't do that. Don't hide the light. Reflect it. Allow it to radiate outside of you. And then Jesus goes, in the same way, let your light shine before others. Don't hide your light. Don't protect your light. Let it to radiate. That they may see. Who's they? The world. Everyone around you. Everyone connected to you. I mean, again, Jesus is at the edge of the Sea of Galilee. That the Romans had called Lake Tiberias. Just north of them, they could see the Roman city of Tiberias. He's like, so that they... Everyone sitting here, yes, Matthew, you're included to radiate my light. That those who don't know me, Jesus is saying, that they may see your, what do you think Jesus said next? for the world to experience Jesus' light being reflected through us human beings. What do you think Jesus said next? So that they would see what? A bunch of Christ followers reflecting Jesus' light, that they may see your perfectly manicured outward life, your perfect marriage, your perfect family, your perfect kids, your perfect job, your perfect finances, your perfect leadership decision making, your perfect that they may see your moral superiority. I wrote it this way as well, your selective holiness. Again, hey, Christ followers, this is true for you and for me. The longer you're a Christ follower, the more you will have the tendency to highlight everyone else's sin and start to perfect hiding your sin. And I just want to surface that. Because all sin separates. All sin creates a mess. All sin has consequences. Whether people can see it on the outside or we've just really perfected hiding it on the inside. Or maybe did Jesus say that they may see your theological depth of knowledge? We work really hard here at TCC to teach the Bible in ways that everyone can grasp. That statement is not an intelligent statement. You all are extremely intelligent people. Hear that. I'm not questioning intelligence. What I'm trying to say is, I understand that this Bible, written several thousands of years ago, was written at a different time span with different languages and different cultures, right? And so we're just trying to pull that all in because we want to teach the Bible in a way that every one of you can grasp it, that can hold on to it, can go, oh, I understand that. Again, this is not intelligence. We could stand and teach and use really big churchy words that no one would understand, and that would accomplish what? Beyond that, how did Jesus teach? Jesus looked at a small boy who had a lunch and used his lunch and he taught. Jesus took water at a wedding and turned it into the best wine and taught. Jesus, sitting with the disciples around a meal, took the bread and the wine, the two staples of every Jewish meal, and he taught. Jesus spit into dirt and made mud and taught. Jesus said, a light, a town on a hill. And he taught. You see, Jesus modeled how for us to teach. Why? Because it's not about, knowing all the big words. It's about the wisdom to know God that transforms, that molds our life into action, that reflects who God is, a good God. Or maybe Jesus said that they may see your unwavering and unshakable faith. Did he say that? Here's what I know. Person after person in the Bible had wavering faith and shaking faith. The Old Testament prophets wavered and shook. The apostles, those that Jesus handpicked to follow him, to be part of his leadership core, they wavered and they shook. Person after person had wavering and shakeable faith. That's not what Jesus said. What did Jesus say? So that they may see your good deeds. Your good deeds. James, the brother of Jesus, said, I will show you my faith by what I do. This is what love looks like. When we say love first, It's love in action. We want to be a church, a gathering of imperfect, messy people on mission with God, for God, to tell other people about Jesus. And the number one way we can do that is through our actions, our good deeds. But the good deeds, the end point isn't doing the good deed. The end point of the good deed is what Jesus said next. He says, and glorify. That word glorify means to worship, to honor, to raise your eyes to a perfect, holy, good God, to glorify God in heaven. When someone gives me a compliment, and we all love compliments, right? That feels good inside. I do two things every time. When someone gives me a compliment, my first thing I say to that person is thank you. I don't want to dismiss their compliment. I don't want to dismiss their words of encouragement. I don't want just to dismiss it. So I always say thank you. It's a heartfelt thank you. And the next thing I do is I call it deflecting. I always deflect it to God. You know, I'm so thankful for what God's doing in our churches. I'm so thankful what God is doing I'm so thankful that God is moving. I'm so thankful that I always deflect it, always deflect it. You know what I'm doing? I'm giving glory to God. Because the compliment, yeah, I personally am thankful for the compliment. But what I understand is who I am, how God has wired me. It's because of Him, not me. So that they may see your good deeds, putting love into action, reflecting Jesus' light, and to worship, to honor, to glorify God. So let me ask you this question. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with the light within you? If you are a Christ follower, this is a question that you have to answer. What are you going to do? Whether you've been a Christ follower for one day or you've been a Christ follower for 50 years, it doesn't matter the span of time. Remember, Matthew, sitting at his tax collector table, Jesus said, come follow me. He gets up and follows right away. There wasn't some long waiting period. There wasn't some long schooling period. There wasn't some long, well, we'll see if you're spiritual enough. No. Right away, Jesus brought him into the inside and said, hey, Matthew, you're going to be one of my leaders. So if you've been a Christ follower for a day or 50 years, it's the same question. What are you going to do with the light within you? Are you going to put it under a bowl? Are you going to hunker down? Are you going to go into hiding? Or are you going to put it on a stand so everyone can see? Or are you going to climb up to the top of the hill so everyone can see? What are you going to do? Jesus said good deeds. And that's a really broad kind of umbrella term, but there's three very specific. And here's my encouragement. I don't want you to pick one out of the three or two out of the three. My prayer, my encouragement, my pressing into you is that all three of these good deeds are part of your, December, Christmas, holiday season good deeds. The first one is this, is to give generously. I had a friend share this with me several weeks ago, and I loved how he simply said this. He goes, you don't give to a church, you give through a church. And I just tell you, just that simple statement is so true. Theologically, Bible, it's true, right? We're giving through the church. When my wife and I give, we give through the church because the church is a vehicle that God has put into motion to radiate His light, to reflect His light everywhere. And so if you haven't taken the step on your tithing journey, that word tithe, basically all it means is 10%. To pick a percentage that you're going to give back to God in an act of worship, in an act of honor, in an act of obedience that you give. And I want to encourage, press in all of you to give above and beyond this Christmas season. Our year-end offering that you've been hearing about, you'll continue to hear about, we're giving our year-end offering all the way. And there's two very specific kind of initiatives that it's focusing on. First is a gift of sleep. In 2025, this year, so far to date, and we're still giving away more and more mattresses. We've given away 251 mattresses. Think about the individual impact of 251 mattresses is made this year. Total, since we started doing the gift of sleep just a few years ago, we've given away 826 mattresses. It's because of the generosity, the good deeds of Christ followers like you. The other part of our year-end offering is, well, we want to fully fund our impact partners for 2026. And they are impact partners that are within the state of Pennsylvania, beyond that, and globally. And I just love what God is doing in them and through them. But one of our new impact partners that we're just bringing in for 2026 is K-Days. And the story of K-Days it captivates my heart and soul. It was a husband and wife, and Kay was going through a very lengthy cancer medical battle. And on one of the trips to the hospital, their parking was paid for. It's what love looks like. It's what good deeds look like. And in their drive on the way home, they had a conversation going, that'd be really cool to be able to do that one day. Well, when Kay passed away and went to be with the Heavenly Father, Robin, her husband, said, I can do something about it. And so he started K-Days. And just raising money to pay for parking for people who are showing up to the hospital to get care, to get help for their battle with cancer. Why? Because no one fights alone. You see, we have incredible impact partners that through your generosity, we're able to gift, to encourage, to support. Remember, you don't give to a church, you give through a church. The second one is to invite passionately. Christmas is coming. We have invites everywhere. And I just want to encourage you to invite. Do you realize that 80% of people who were asked would say yes to come to church with you? They just need to be asked. 80% of all people would say yes if they're just asked. Keep inviting. Text people. Give them a card. Give a big tip at a restaurant. Slide the invite card in some Christmas fudge. I don't know what. Just keep inviting. 80% of people will say yes. They just need to be invited. You talk about a good deed. And serve selflessly. This is so easy. Don't overcomplicate this one, church. Don't overcomplicate it. See a need, just put love into action. A neighbor that needs something. You see a Facebook post. Maybe you can't help everyone out there on Facebook or in your entire community, but you can help a person. You can help a family. You can serve someone. See a need. Just meet the need. Put love into action. Let's reflect Jesus' light through our good deeds, and in doing so, worshiping, honoring, glorifying God. Let's pray. Lord, I just ask that we'll do that. That we won't keep the light in us to ourselves. That we'll do everything we can to radiate, to reflect that light out to all people. In your name I pray.